The sky above West City split open without warning. No explosion, no energy signature. Just a thin vertical line of absolute black that tore through reality like someone had sliced the air itself with an invisible blade. People on the streets stopped and pointed upward. Cars halted in the middle of intersections. The cut hung there in silence for exactly 7 seconds before it peeled open wider and a figure stepped through into Earth's atmosphere. He fell slowly, as if gravity was negotiating with him rather than commanding him. His boots touched down in the center of Capsule Corporation's front lawn, with such gentleness that not a single blade of grass bent beneath his weight. Bulma happened to be walking past the window, with a coffee mug in one hand and a wrench in the other when she saw him. She froze. The mug slipped from her fingers and shattered on the floor, but she didn't look down. She couldn't look away from the stranger standing on her lawn. He was tall, maybe 7 feet, with skin the color of polished obsidian that seemed to drink in the sunlight rather than reflect it. His hair was long and white, pulled back in a loose tail that draped over one shoulder. He wore no armor, just simple dark robes that looked ancient, stitched with patterns that hurt to look at too closely, like they were moving even when they weren't. But it was his eyes that made Bulma's breath catch. They were completely silver, no pupils, no iris, just 2 pools of liquid metal that scanned the building in front of him with calm curiosity. He stood there for a long moment, hands clasped behind his back, and then he smiled. It wasn't a cruel smile or a threatening one. It was the smile of someone who had just found exactly what they were looking for after searching for a very long time. Inside the Capsule Corp kitchen, Vegeta was eating lunch. He had a plate of rice and grilled fish in front of him and was shoveling food into his mouth with the mechanical efficiency of a man who treated meals like refueling stations. Bulma burst through the door, her face pale, and Vegeta looked up with annoyance already forming on his face. Before he could bark at her for interrupting his meal, she pointed toward the window. Vegeta's eyes followed her finger, and he saw the figure standing on the lawn. His hand stopped halfway to his mouth. The chopsticks clattered onto the plate. Vegeta stood up slowly, his chair scraping against the floor. He walked to the window and stared down at the stranger. For 5 full seconds he said nothing. Then he spoke, and his voice was quieter than Bulma had heard it in years. "That's not possible." "What?" Bulma whispered. "Who is that?" Vegeta didn't answer. He was already moving toward the door. Bulma grabbed his arm, but he shook her off gently, his eyes never leaving the figure outside. "Stay inside," he said. "Lock the doors, get trunks, and stay in the lab." "Vegeta, what's going on?" He didn't answer. He walked out the front door and down the steps, stopping about 20 feet away from the stranger. The man in the dark robes turned to face him, and that smile widened just a fraction. Vegeta's fists clenched at his sides. Every instinct in his body was screaming at him. Not to attack, to run. He hadn't felt this specific sensation since he was a child on planet Vegeta, standing in the throne room while Frieza made his first visit to their world. "You," Vegeta said, his voice tight. "What are you doing here?" The stranger tilted his head. When he spoke, his voice was smooth and deep, like distant thunder rolling across a night sky. "I'm looking for Son Goku. I was told he resides on this planet. Would you happen to know where I might find him?" Vegeta's jaw tightened. "Who told you about Goku?" The stranger's smile faded, replaced by something more thoughtful. "No one told me. I have been searching the universes for a very long time, 53 years by your counting. I follow the trails of powerful warriors. Goku's energy signature is quite unique. It led me here. 53 years. Vegeta's eyes narrowed. "That's impossible." Goku's only been at this level for a few years. Time works differently when you hunt across dimensions, the stranger said. From my perspective, I have been tracking him for much longer. From yours, I have only just arrived. He paused and clasped his hands behind his back again. My name is Zareth. I am what your people would call a god of war. I come from a universe that no longer exists, and I have come to challenge Son Goku to a battle. Vegeta took one step forward, energy already crackling around his fists. You want to fight Kakarot? You'll have to go through me first. Zareth looked at Vegeta, the way a professor might look at an enthusiastic student who had just volunteered to solve an equation far beyond their understanding. You are powerful, he said. I can feel it. You carry the energy of a god of destruction in your veins. Beerus trained you himself, didn't he? Vegeta's eyes widened slightly, but he said nothing. Zareth nodded. Yes, I can sense his signature woven into your Kai. Impressive. But I did not come here for you, Vegeta. Prince of all Saiyans. I came for Goku, and I will wait as long as necessary. Vegeta's aura exploded around him, blue energy roaring into the sky as he shifted into Super Saiyan, blue evolution. The ground beneath his feet cracked and splintered. The windows of Capsule Corp rattled in their frames. I don't care who you are or where you came from, Vegeta snarled. Nobody threatens my planet, nobody threatens my family, and nobody ignores me. He launched forward with a speed that would have been invisible to most fighters, his fist aimed directly at Zareth's face. Zareth didn't move. He didn't dodge. He didn't even blink. Vegeta's fist stopped 1 inch from Zareth's nose, caught in midair by an invisible force that felt like hitting a wall made of solid space-time. Vegeta pushed harder, pouring more energy into the strike, veins bulging in his arm. Zareth's expression didn't change. He simply raised one finger and flicked it forward. Vegeta shot backward like he'd been hit by a planetary explosion. He crashed through 3 buildings, tumbled across the street, and finally skidded to a halt half a mile away, carving a trench through the asphalt. He coughed once, blood flecking his lips, and stared up at the sky in shock. He hadn't been swatted aside like that since fighting Beerus years ago. He climbed to his feet, shaking, his aura flickering. Zareth was still standing on the lawn, his finger still extended. He lowered it slowly and sighed. I meant what I said. I did not come for you. But if you insist on being a nuisance, I will remove you from the equation. He turned away from Vegeta and looked up at the sky. I will wait here for 3 days. If Son Goku does not come to me by then, I will begin destroying cities one by one until he does. I suggest you inform him of my arrival. Then Zareth sat down cross-legged on the grass, closed his silver eyes, and became perfectly still. Vegeta staggered back toward Capsule Corp, his pride screaming at him to attack again, but his warrior's instinct telling him that would be suicide. He pulled out his phone with a shaking hand and dialed the one number he didn't want to call, but had no choice. Goku answered on the second ring. Hey, Vegeta, what's up? Kakarot, Vegeta said through gritted teeth. Get to Capsule Corp, now. We have a problem. On Mount Paozu, Goku was there helping Chi-Chi hang laundry on the line outside their house. He had a clothespin in his mouth and was holding up a bedsheet while Chi-Chi clipped it into place. When his phone rang, he nearly dropped the sheet, and Chi-Chi shot him a glare that could have melted steel. Goku grinned sheepishly and answered the call. When he heard Vegeta's voice, tight and urgent, his grin faded. He listened for 10 seconds and then his face went serious. I'll be right there, Goku said. He hung up and looked at Chi-Chi. I gotta go. Vegeta says something's wrong at Capsule Corp. Chi-Chi put her hands on her hips. Goku, you promised you'd help me with chores today. No training, No fighting. No running off to save the world. You promised. Goku scratched the back of his head. I know, but Vegeta sounded really worried. He never sounds worried. I'll be back in like an hour, I promise. He pressed 2 fingers to his forehead before Chi-Chi could argue further and vanished via instant transmission. He reappeared in Capsule Corp's front yard and immediately felt the residual energy hanging in the air. It made his skin prickle. He looked around and saw Vegeta standing near the front steps, one hand pressed against his ribs, breathing hard. Then Goku's eyes found Zareth, still sitting cross-legged on the grass with his eyes closed, looking like a statue carved from midnight stone. Vegeta, what happened? Goku asked, walking over. You okay? Vegeta straightened up, wincing. I'm fine, but we've got a serious problem. He nodded towards Zareth. That's Zareth. He says he's a god of war from a dead universe. He's here for you, Kakarot. He wants to fight you. Goku looked at Zareth with open curiosity. A god of war? I've never heard of that before. He raised his voice slightly. Hey, you wanted to talk to me. Zareth's eyes opened slowly, those silver pools focusing on Goku, with an intensity that made the air feel heavier. He stood up in one smooth motion and inclined his head. Son Goku, at last, I have searched across dimensions to find you. Goku smiled and waved. Nice to meet you. Why were you looking for me? Zareth studied Goku for a long moment, and something like approval flickered across his face. You do not radiate fear. Good. I despise fighting cowards. He took a single step forward, and the temperature in the air seemed to drop 10 degrees. I am Zareth, the last survivor of Universe Zero. In my universe, I was undefeated in combat for 10,000 years. I fought gods, demons, and titans. I destroyed armies and toppled empires. And then my universe collapsed into entropy, and I was cast adrift in the void between realities. For decades I wandered, searching for a purpose. And then I felt your energy, Son Goku, a Saiyan who has touched the realm of the angels, a mortal who has mastered Ultra Instinct. I want to fight you, not to conquer, not to destroy, but to test myself against the strongest warrior in this existence. Goku's eyes lit up. You want to fight me? That sounds awesome. When do we start? Vegeta grabbed Goku's shoulder and yanked him backward. Are you insane? This guy just swatted me away like I was nothing, and I was using blue evolution. He's on a completely different level. Goku looked at Vegeta's bruised face and the way he was still favoring his ribs, and his expression grew more serious. He did that to you? Just now? Vegeta nodded. Goku turned back to Zareth, and this time there was no smile on his face. You heard my friend. Zareth raised an eyebrow. He attacked me first. I merely defended myself. I have no interest in fighting anyone but you, Goku. Your friend is irrelevant to me. Goku's fists clenched at his sides. Nobody here is irrelevant. If you wanted to fight me, you should have just asked nicely instead of hurting people. Zareth's expression didn't change. Would you have agreed to fight me if I had simply asked? Goku paused, then nodded. Yeah, probably. I love fighting strong guys. For the first time, Zareth looked genuinely surprised. Then he laughed, a low rumbling sound that seemed to come from deep in his chest. Remarkable. You truly are everything I hoped you would be. He stepped back and spread his arms. Very well. I apologize for injuring your companion. It was not my intention to offend you. But now that we have met, I must insist. Fight me, Son Goku. Show me the power that has become legend across the multiverse. Goku looked at Vegeta, then back at Zareth. All right, but not here. Too many people could get hurt. Let's go somewhere empty. Zareth nodded. Agreed. Choose the location. I will follow. Goku pressed his fingers to his forehead, locked onto King Kai's planet in Otherworld, then shifted his focus to the world of Void, where the tournament of power had taken place. That space was empty, infinite, and indestructible. Perfect. Follow my energy, Goku said. Then he vanished. Zareth closed his eyes for a moment, sensing the trail Goku had left behind, and then he stepped forward into the air and disappeared in a ripple of darkness. Vegeta was left standing alone on the lawn, breathing hard, fists still clenched. Bulma came running out of the house. Vegeta, what just happened? Where did they go? Vegeta didn't answer immediately. He was staring at the spot where Zareth had been standing, and his hands were trembling, not from fear, from rage, from humiliation. He had trained for years under Beerus, mastered the power of destruction, pushed himself beyond every limit, and this stranger had brushed him aside like he was nothing. Bulma touched his arm gently, and he flinched. Vegeta, I'm fine, he said, though his voice was hollow. They went to fight, somewhere far away. Kakarot's going to face him. Is Goku going to win? Vegeta was silent for a long time. Then he said, very quietly, I don't know. In the world of Void, Goku floated in the center of that endless expanse of white nothingness. A moment later, Zareth appeared 50 feet away, standing on the invisible ground as if he had always been there. He looked around at the infinite emptiness and nodded approvingly. This will do nicely. No distractions, no interruptions, just you and me. Goku dropped into his fighting stance, feet spread, fists raised. Before we start, I gotta ask. You said you were looking for the strongest warrior. But why? What do you get out of this? Zareth's silver eyes seemed to glow brighter. Meaning, when my universe died, I died with it. But something pulled me back. Some force I do not understand allowed me to persist when everything else was erased. I have wandered for so long, Goku. I have forgotten what it means to feel alive. But when I fight, when I push myself to the edge of oblivion, I remember, even if only for a moment. So I fight, and I search for opponents who can make me feel that spark again. He settled into his own stance, one hand extended forward, the other pulled back near his ribs. You are my best hope. Do not disappoint me. Goku's expression softened just a little. He understood that feeling, the need to push beyond limits, the hunger for a challenge that made your blood sing. All right, Goku said. I get it. Let's give you a good fight. His aura exploded around him, blue energy crackling into existence as he transformed into Super Saiyan Blue in one smooth motion. His hair turned brilliant azure, his eyes became sharper, and his power surged to a level that would have shattered planets if they were standing on one. He launched forward without another word, closing the distance between them in a fraction of a second, and threw a punch aimed at Zareth's chest. Zareth blocked it with his forearm, and the impact sent a shockwave rippling outward through the world of Void. Goku followed up immediately with a kick towards Zareth's head, but Zareth ducked under it and countered with a palm strike toward Goku's stomach. Goku twisted in midair, narrowly avoiding the strike, and fired a Kai blast point-blank into Zareth's face. The explosion engulfed them both in golden light. When the smoke cleared, Zareth was standing exactly where he had been, completely unharmed. He wiped a bit of dust off his shoulder and smiled. Good. You're not holding back. I appreciate that. Goku grinned despite himself. You're really tough. This is going to be fun. He powered up even further, his aura intensifying, and charged again. They clashed in a flurry of punches and kicks, each impact creating thunderous booms that echoed across the endless void. Goku was fast, insanely fast, his movements a blur even to someone with god-level perception. But Zareth matched him move for move, blocking, countering, never losing his balance, never showing strain. Goku flipped backward and gathered energy in both hands. Kamehameha. He fired the massive blue beam directly at Zareth. Zareth raised one hand and caught the beam in his palm, holding it there as it roared against him, pushing him backward inch by inch. Then he clenched his fist and the beam dispersed into harmless sparks. Goku's eyes widened. Whoa, nobody's ever done that before. Zareth flexed his fingers. Your technique is refined. Your power is immense. But you are still testing me, aren't you? You haven't shown me your true strength yet. Goku's grin widened. You're right. I wanted to see what you could do first. But if you can handle blue this easily, then I guess I need to step it up. He powered down for a moment, his aura fading, and then he closed his eyes. His breathing slowed. His heartbeat became steady. And then silver light began to ripple across his body like liquid mercury. His hair shifted from blue back to black, but now it had a faint silver sheen. His eyes snapped open, glowing with a calm, focused intensity. Ultra Instinct sign. Zareth's smile vanished. He straightened up, all traces of amusement gone from his face. There it is, the power I sensed, the realm of the angels. He lowered into a deeper stance. Now we begin in earnest. Goku moved, not with conscious thought, but with pure instinct. His body reacted before his mind could process, flowing around Zareth's defenses like water, striking from angles that shouldn't have been possible. He landed a punch on Zareth's ribs, another on his shoulder, a spinning kick to his jaw. Each hit connected with devastating force, and for the first time, Zareth staggered backward. Goku pressed the advantage, unleashing a barrage of strikes so fast they looked like a single motion. Zareth blocked some, dodged others, but several got through, and Goku could see the surprise in those silver eyes. Then Zareth caught one of Goku's punches. Just caught it mid-strike, his hand closing around Goku's fist like a vice. Goku tried to pull away, but Zareth held firm. Impressive, Zareth said. But you are not the only one who can transcend mortal limits. His free hand shot forward and slammed into Goku's chest. The impact was like being hit by a collapsing star. Goku felt his ribs creak, felt the air driven from his lungs. And then he was flying backward, tumbling through the void until he caught himself a quarter-mile away. He coughed, tasting blood, and looked down at his chest where Zareth's palm had connected. There was a dark bruise already forming. Zareth appeared in front of him, moving faster than even Ultra Instinct could fully track. He swung a kick toward Goku's head. Goku's body reacted on its own, ducking under the kick and countering with an uppercut that caught Zareth under the chin. Zareth's head snapped back, and Goku followed up with a knee to the stomach, then a double-fisted hammer blow that sent Zareth crashing downward into the invisible ground. The impact created a crater that shouldn't have existed in this empty space. Goku hovered above, breathing hard, his silver aura flickering. He could feel Ultra Instinct signs starting to drain him. He couldn't hold this form forever. But Zareth wasn't done. He climbed out of the crater, dusting himself off, and Goku saw blood trickling from the corner of Zareth's mouth. The God of War touched the blood with one finger, looked at it, and then laughed. Yes, this is what I wanted. You can hurt me. You can push me. Thank you, Goku. Then Zareth's own aura erupted around him, and it was like nothing Goku had ever felt before. It wasn't Kai. It wasn't God energy. It was something older, something primal, a force that felt like the raw fabric of existence itself. Zareth's obsidian skin began to glow with dark red veins of energy that pulsed like a heartbeat. His silver eyes blazed brighter. I have not used this power in 50 years, Zareth said, his voice deeper now, resonating with strange harmonics. You should feel honored. He vanished, Goku's instinct screamed a warning and he twisted to the side, just as Zareth's fist passed through the space where his head had been a microsecond earlier. Goku countered with a spinning back fist, but Zareth was already gone, reappearing behind him, landing a brutal kick to Goku's spine that sent him hurtling forward. Goku flipped in midair, planted his feet on nothing, and launched himself back at Zareth. They collided in the center of the void, fists meeting fists, and the shockwave from their clash rippled outward in a perfect sphere of compressed force. They broke apart, both breathing harder now, both showing signs of damage. Goku's guy was torn in several places, and there was blood running down from a cut above his eye. Zareth's dark robes were singed and frayed, and bruises were forming on his arms where Goku's strikes had landed. They stared at each other across the distance, and Goku felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Not fear, but respect. Whoever this guy was, whatever universe he came from, he was the real deal. "You're amazing," Goku said, grinning even through the pain. "I haven't had a fight this good since Jiren." Zareth didn't smile. He just nodded slowly. "And you have exceeded my expectations. But I sense you have more to show me. You are still holding back your full power. The complete Ultra Instinct. Why?" Goku's grin faded. "Because if I go full Ultra Instinct, I might not be able to control it. And I don't want to accidentally kill you. I came here to fight, not to execute you." Zareth's expression grew cold. "Do not insult me with your mercy, Saiyan. I did not cross dimensions to be coddled. If you do not give me everything you have, then this fight is meaningless." He spread his arms wide. "Come at me with your full power, or I will begin destroying everything you love until you have no choice." Goku's eyes hardened. "You wouldn't." "I would, and I will." Zareth's voice was calm, matter-of-fact. "I have nothing left to lose, Goku. My universe is gone. My people are dead. I am a ghost seeking one final purpose before I fade into oblivion. Give me the fight I came for, or I will make you." Goku stared at him for a long moment. Then he sighed and let his arms drop to his sides. "All right, you asked for it, but don't say I didn't warn you." He closed his eyes again, and this time he didn't hold anything back. He let go of all conscious thought, all restraint, all hesitation. He became an empty vessel, and the universe filled him. Silver energy exploded around him in a blinding supernova of light. His hair turned completely silver white. His eyes became pools of liquid mercury. His movements lost all wasted motion. He had become the perfect fusion of body and instinct. Mastered Ultra Instinct. Zareth's eyes widened just for a moment, and then his grin returned. "Yes, that's it. That's what I've been searching for." Goku moved first. He didn't cross the distance. He simply appeared in front of Zareth, already mid-punch, and the strike landed clean on Zareth's jaw with the force of a dying star. Zareth's head whipped to the side and he spun through the air, but he recovered instantly, twisting his body and launching a counterattack. Goku wasn't there. He was already behind Zareth, driving a knee into his spine. Zareth grunted and swung his elbow backward, but Goku had already moved again, appearing above, slamming both fists down onto Zareth's shoulders and driving him into the ground. The impact created a shockwave that would have obliterated planets. Zareth lay in the crater for half a second, then erupted upward, his dark red aura burning even brighter. He unleashed a barrage of energy blasts, hundreds of them, each one powerful enough to vaporize mountains. Goku weaved through them like they were standing still, his body moving with impossible grace. And then he was in front of Zareth again, landing a punch to the gut that folded Zareth in half. But Zareth grabbed Goku's arm before he could pull back, yanked him close, and headbutted him directly in the face. Goku's head snapped back, and blood sprayed from his nose. Zareth followed up with a vicious combination. Fists blurring, each strike hitting with precision and overwhelming power. Goku's Ultra Instinct allowed him to dodge most of them, but a few got through, and each one hit like a meteor. They traded blows in a dizzying exchange that lasted maybe 3 seconds, but involved hundreds of attacks from both sides. Then they both fired energy blasts at the same time, the beams colliding in the space between them and creating a sphere of roiling destruction that grew larger and larger until it exploded, sending them both flying in opposite directions. Goku caught himself a mile away, his chest heaving, his silver aura flickering. Zareth hovered in the distance, blood running down his face, his robe shredded but still standing. They hung there in the void, staring at each other, and for the first time, Goku felt something shift in Zareth's energy. It wasn't weakening, it was changing, growing darker, more unstable. Zareth raised one hand and black lightning began to crackle around his fingers. "You are everything I hoped for, Son Goku," Zareth said, his voice echoing strangely. "But I must know. I must see the absolute limit. Forgive me for what comes next." The black lightning spread from his hand up his arm, across his chest, covering his entire body in a web of dark energy that pulsed and writhed like living shadow. Goku's instinct screamed a warning. Whatever Zareth was about to do, it was dangerous, deadly. Goku powered up further, pushing Ultra Instinct to its absolute peak, his aura blazing so brightly it was almost painful to look at. And then Zareth spoke 3 words that made Goku's blood run cold. "I fought Beerus." Goku's eyes widened. "What?" Zareth's smile was gone now, replaced by something hollow and sad. "Before my universe collapsed, before I was cast into the void, I fought Beerus the Destroyer. It was the greatest battle of my life, and I won." The silence that followed Zareth's words was absolute. Even in the infinite emptiness of the world of void, it felt like the universe itself had stopped breathing. Goku's silver aura flickered, his concentration wavering for just a moment as his mind processed what he just heard. "You beat Beerus," Goku said slowly. "Lord Beerus, the God of Destruction." Zareth nodded, and the black lightning around his body pulsed brighter. "It was 300 years ago, by your calendar. I challenged him in the space between universes. We fought for 6 days without stopping. Mountains of debris became our battlefield. Stars died in the crossfire. And on the 6th day, I landed a strike that should have killed him, would have killed him, if Whis had not intervened." Zareth's expression darkened. "The angel stopped our fight, declared it a violation of cosmic law for a mortal to slay a god. He pulled Beerus away before I could finish him. And then, as punishment for my transgression, the Grand Priest himself appeared and condemned my entire universe to erasure." Goku felt his chest tighten. "Your whole universe? Everyone died because you fought Beerus?" "Yes." Zareth's voice was flat, emotionless. 10 trillion souls, gone in an instant. I was kept alive only to witness it. The Grand Priest wanted me to understand the price of defying the natural order. Then he cast me into the void between realities and left me to wander forever. The black lightning intensified, arcing off Zareth's body in jagged bolts. "For 50 years, I have carried that weight. For 50 years, I have existed without purpose, until I felt your energy, Goku, a mortal who has touched the power of angels, a Saiyan who has done what should be impossible. I came here not just to fight you. I came here to understand. How did you earn the right to wield this power without being punished? Why are you allowed to exist when my people were erased?" Goku's expression softened. He could hear the pain in Zareth's voice, the desperation. This wasn't just about fighting. This was about survival, about meaning. "I don't know why the angels let me use Ultra Instinct," Goku admitted. Whis trained me. He gave me the chance to learn it. Maybe it's because I never tried to kill a god. I just wanted to get stronger, to protect my friends and family. I never wanted to destroy anything. Then you are luckier than I ever was, Zareth said quietly. Or perhaps you are simply wiser. He closed his eyes and the black lightning began to coalesce, pulling inward, compressing around his body like a second skin. When he opened his eyes again, they were no longer silver. They were pitch black, with tiny white stars flickering in their depths, like looking into the night sky itself. I will show you the technique I used to defeat Beerus. It is called Void Collapse. It is the power to unmake existence itself, one piece at a time. If you can survive this, Son Goku, then perhaps you truly are the warrior who deserves the blessing of the angels. The black energy around Zareth's body suddenly compressed into a single point in the center of his chest, and then it exploded outward in a shockwave of pure annihilation. Goku's instinct screamed, and he raised both arms to block, but the wave hit him like a tsunami of erasure. It didn't burn. It didn't cut. It simply tried to delete him from reality. Goku felt his cells beginning to break apart, felt his existence flickering, and he roared as he poured every ounce of Ultra Instinct's power into holding himself together. The shockwave passed, and Goku was still there, gasping, his silver aura dimmer but intact. He looked down at his arms and saw cracks of darkness spreading across his skin, like fractures in glass. They hurt in a way that physical pain couldn't describe. It was the sensation of not existing. He forced the cracks to close through sheer willpower and looked up at Zareth, who was watching him with something like approval. "You withstood it," Zareth said. "Remarkable. Most beings cease to exist the moment void collapse touches them. But you held on. Your Ultra Instinct is protecting you at a level beyond the physical. Extraordinary." Goku straightened up, his breathing ragged. "That technique is insane. You're not just attacking me. You're trying to erase me. Yes, it is the ultimate expression of my power. The ability to reduce anything to absolute nothingness. Beerus barely survived it, and even he could not counter it." Zareth's dark, star-filled eyes seemed to glow brighter. "Can you, Goku? Can you overcome the power that defeated a god of destruction?" Goku clenched his fists, and his silver aura roared back to full intensity. "I don't know, but I'm not going to give up. That's not who I am." He dropped into his stance again, and this time there was a new determination in his eyes. "You lost everything, Zareth. I get that. But if you're still here, still fighting, then you still have a purpose. Don't waste it trying to erase people. Use it to build something new." Zareth stared at him for a long moment, and something flickered across his face. Surprise? Confusion? Then it was gone, replaced by cold resolve. Inspiring words, but words will not save you. He raised both hands and black spheres of void collapse energy began forming in his palms. "Defend yourself." He fired both spheres simultaneously. Goku dodged to the left, his body moving on pure instinct, but the spheres curved in midair, tracking him like guided missiles. Goku spun and fired a Kamehameha at the first one, but the moment his energy beam touched the black sphere, it began to disintegrate. The Kamehameha unraveled from the point of contact backward, the blue energy dissolving into nothing. Goku cut off the beam and flew straight up, but the spheres followed. He pushed his speed to the limit, creating after images, but the spheres kept pace. Then Goku stopped, spun around, and clapped his hands together. The two spheres collided with each other and exploded in a burst of darkness that consumed everything in a 100-foot radius. Goku barely escaped the blast, feeling the edges of the void energy licking at his heels. He reappeared next to Zareth, and threw a punch, but Zareth blocked it with one hand and grabbed Goku's wrist with the other. Black energy began flowing from Zareth's hand into Goku's arm. Goku felt his arm going numb, felt it starting to dissolve from the inside out. He yanked himself free and flipped backward, looking down at his arm. The skin was grey and cracked, flickering in and out of existence. He focused his Ultra Instinct energy into the arm, forcing it to regenerate, to remember its form. The grey faded and his arm solidified again, but it took everything he had to do it. Zareth didn't give him time to recover. He appeared in front of Goku and unleashed a flurry of strikes, each one coated in that black erasing energy. Goku dodged and blocked, but every time Zareth's attacks came close, Goku could feel pieces of himself trying to vanish. This wasn't just a fight anymore. This was a battle for existence itself. Goku kicked off the air and put distance between them, his mind racing. Ultra Instinct let him dodge almost anything. But Zareth's void collapse wasn't a normal attack. It didn't just hit you. It tried to unmake you. And if Goku's concentration slipped even for a second, he'd be gone. He needed a new strategy, something that could counter erasure itself. And then he remembered something Whis had told him during training. Ultra Instinct isn't just about moving without thinking. It's about existing without doubt. If you believe in your existence absolutely, nothing can take it away. Goku closed his eyes, even though Zareth was already charging at him. He let his consciousness sink deeper into Ultra Instinct, past the physical movements, past the reflexes, down to the core of what he was. He felt his heartbeat, felt the energy flowing through every cell, felt the connections to everyone he'd ever fought, everyone he'd ever protected, everyone who believed in him. He wasn't just Goku. He was a Saiyan warrior, a husband, a father, a friend, a guardian of Earth. He was all of those things, and no power in any universe could erase that. His silver aura changed. It became brighter, more solid. Like Hidetsuki, it had weight and substance. When Zareth's fist, coated in black void collapse energy, connected with Goku's chest, it didn't dissolve him. The black energy shattered against the silver aura like glass hitting steel. Zareth's eyes widened in shock. Goku's eyes snapped open, and they were glowing with pure white light. "I get it now," Goku said, his voice calm but resonating with power. "Your void collapse tries to erase existence, but my Ultra Instinct is existence. It's the purest form of being alive, and as long as I hold on to that, you can't unmake me." He moved, and this time, when he struck Zareth, the God of War actually staggered backward, genuine pain crossing his face. Goku didn't let up. He attacked with a combination of strikes that Zareth couldn't fully block, each hit landing with devastating precision. Zareth tried to coat himself in void collapse energy as armor, but Goku's attacks punched through it like it wasn't even there. The silver and black energies clashed in violent bursts, creating distortions in space itself. Zareth roared and unleashed a massive wave of void collapse energy in all directions, forcing Goku to back off. When the darkness cleared, Zareth was breathing hard, blood running from his mouth and nose. His dark robes were almost completely destroyed, revealing the obsidian skin beneath, now covered in bruises and cuts. But there was something new in his eyes. Not anger, not desperation. Respect. "You have surpassed my expectations," Zareth said, wiping blood from his chin. "You have adapted to my ultimate technique. You have found a way to exist in spite of erasure. You truly are worthy of the power you wield." He straightened up, and the black energy around him began to fade. The stars in his eyes dimmed. "I concede." Goku blinked, his Ultra Instinct form flickering in surprise. "What? You're giving up?" Zareth shook his head. "Not giving up. acknowledging reality. I came here to test you, and you have passed that test. I came here searching for meaning, and you have shown me that meaning is not found in destruction, but in the choice to persist despite it. He looked down at his hands, and for the first time, Goku saw something like peace in his expression. Thank you, Son Goku. You have given me what I needed. Goku powered down, his silver aura fading away, leaving him standing in his base form, bruised and exhausted, but smiling. You're really strong, Zareth. One of the strongest people I've ever fought. But you're also really sad. I wish I could have met you before all the bad stuff happened. Zareth's expression softened. As do I. Then his eyes widened slightly, looking past Goku. It seems we have an audience. Goku turned and his heart jumped. Floating in the distance were two figures. One was a tall angel with white hair and purple skin, dressed in elegant robes and holding a staff. The other was a purple cat-like being with large ears and a perpetually annoyed expression. Whis and Beerus. They must have sensed the fight and come to investigate. Beerus's eyes were locked onto Zareth, and his expression was dark. You, Beerus said, his voice low and dangerous. I remember you. Zareth turned to face them, and despite everything, a small smile appeared on his face. Lord Beerus, it has been a long time. 300 years, I believe. Beerus floated closer, and purple destruction energy began crackling around his hands. You're the one who nearly killed me, the one who caused Universe Zero to be erased. I thought you were destroyed along with it. I should have been, Zareth said calmly. But the Grand Priest deemed annihilation too merciful. He left me alive to suffer. He gestured around at the empty void. I have wandered ever since, until I found this universe, until I found Goku. Whis tapped his staff gently, his expression thoughtful. I see. And what were you planning to do once you fought Goku? Destroy him, conquer this universe? Neither, Zareth said. I simply wanted to know if there existed a mortal who could match what I once was. A warrior who could touch the realm of gods without being punished for it. And I found my answer. He looked at Goku. He is stronger than I was at my peak. Stronger, perhaps, than even you, Lord Beerus. Beerus's eye twitched. Watch your tongue, mortal. I could destroy you with a thought. Perhaps. But you did not destroy me 300 years ago, even when we fought for 6 days. I landed a killing blow. You know I did. Only Whis saved you. Zareth's voice wasn't mocking. It was just stating facts. I have no desire to fight you again, Lord Beerus. I have no desire to fight anyone anymore. I simply wanted closure. And Goku has given me that. Beerus looked like he wanted to argue, but Whis placed a hand on his shoulder. My lord, I do not sense hostile intent from this being, and he speaks the truth. His energy signature is fading. I believe he is dying. Goku's head whipped around to look at Zareth. Dying? What's he talking about? Zareth nodded slowly. Whis is correct. Void collapse is a double-edged technique. Every time I use it, I erase a piece of myself along with my target. I've used it too many times over the centuries. There is very little of me left. He looked down at his hands and Goku saw that they were beginning to fade, becoming translucent. I have perhaps an hour remaining, maybe less. Goku felt his chest tighten. But we can help you. Whis, you can heal people, right? Or we can use the Dragon Balls. Whis shook his head gently. I'm afraid this is beyond even my abilities, Goku. What afflicts him is not a wound or an illness. It is existential decay. He has been erasing himself piece by piece for years. There is nothing left to heal, and the Dragon Balls cannot restore something that has chosen to unmake itself. Chosen? Goku looked at Zareth. You've been doing this on purpose? Zareth's smile was sad. Not consciously, but yes. Every time I used Void Collapse, I knew the cost. And I used it anyway, because the pain of existing without purpose was greater than the fear of fading away. He looked at Goku, and there was genuine warmth in his dying eyes. But I do not regret coming here. You gave me something I had not felt in centuries, Goku. Hope. The belief that even after everything is lost, it is possible to find meaning again. Thank you for that gift. Goku felt tears stinging his eyes. He'd just fought this guy, nearly killed him, and now he was dying, and there was nothing anyone could do about it. It wasn't fair. Zareth, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about your universe. I'm sorry about your people. You deserve better than this. Perhaps, Zareth said. Or perhaps this is exactly what I deserved. I challenged a god out of pride and arrogance. I believed myself invincible, and my people paid the price for my hubris. He closed his eyes. But I am grateful that my final moments were spent in honest combat with a true warrior. That is a better ending than I had any right to expect. Beerus had been silent through this exchange, his arms crossed, his expression unreadable. Finally he spoke. You were strong, annoyingly strong. If we had fought now, with you in this condition, I would have obliterated you in seconds. But 300 years ago, you were a genuine threat. I will acknowledge that much. Zareth opened his eyes and inclined his head. That is more than I expected from you, Lord Beerus. Thank you. Beerus grunted and looked away, clearly uncomfortable with the emotion in the air. Whis smiled gently and tapped his staff. If there is anything you wish to say or do in your remaining time, now would be the moment. Zareth thought for a moment, then looked at Goku. There is one thing. I have wandered the multiverse for 50 years. I have seen many universes, many timelines, many possibilities. And in my travels, I encountered something that troubled me, a presence that exists outside the normal flow of reality, a being that even the angels seem unaware of. His expression grew serious. It is watching this universe, Goku, watching you specifically. I do not know what it wants or what it plans to do, but I felt its attention on you, and it made even me uneasy. Be careful. The threats you have faced until now may pale in comparison to what is coming. Goku's playful expression faded. What kind of presence? A person? A god? Neither, or perhaps both. I cannot describe it adequately. It exists in the spaces between moments, in the pauses between heartbeats. It is vast and patient and utterly alien. Zareth's body was fading faster now, becoming almost see-through. I leave you with this warning because you showed me kindness when you did not have to. Guard yourself, son Goku. Guard your universe. Something is coming. Before Goku could ask more questions, Zareth's form began to dissolve completely. He looked down at himself, watching as his hands turned to mist and drifted away on a wind that didn't exist. He smiled one last time. It does not hurt. That is a mercy. Then he looked at all three of them, Goku, Beerus, and Whis. Live well, fight with honor, and do not make my mistakes. Then he was gone, not destroyed, not killed, just gone, erased by his own power. The space where he had been standing was empty, and the world of void felt even more hollow than before. Goku stood there staring at nothing, his fist clenched, tears running down his face. He hadn't even known Zareth for more than an hour, but the loss hit him hard. Another warrior lost. Another life ended too soon. Beerus floated over and stood next to Goku, looking at the empty space. Don't cry for him, Goku. He made his choices. He knew the cost. I know, Goku said, wiping his eyes. But it still sucks. He was so strong and so sad, and he just wanted to find meaning. And then he dies right when he finally found it. That's not fair. The universe isn't fair. Beerus said bluntly. It just is. You should know that by now. Whis tapped his staff, and a soft chime echoed through the void. Lord Beerus is correct, though perhaps less eloquent than he could be. Zareth's story is tragic, but it is also complete. He found what he was looking for at the end. That is more than most beings can claim. Goku nodded slowly. He understood what they were saying, but it didn't make him feel better. He looked up at Whis. What he said about something watching me. Do you know what he meant? Wiss's perpetual smile faded just a fraction, and his eyes became more serious. I do not, but I will investigate. If there is indeed something operating outside the awareness of the angels, that is deeply concerning. For now, I suggest we return to your universe and ensure everything is in order. Beerus yawned, already losing interest. Fine, but I'm hungry. Goku, you're buying me lunch. Despite everything, Goku found himself smiling slightly. Yeah, okay. I think I owe you that much. He looked back at the empty space one more time, then pressed his fingers to his forehead. Whis and Beerus did the same, and all three of them vanished from the world of void, leaving only silence behind. At Chacharma, they reappeared at Capsule Corporation, materializing on the front lawn where this had all started. Vegeta was sitting on the steps, arms crossed, clearly waiting. When he saw them appear, he jumped to his feet. Kakarot, what happened? Did you win? Goku landed and immediately dropped to one knee, exhaustion finally catching up with him. His body ached everywhere. His GI was shredded. He had bruises and cuts all over. But he was alive. Yeah, I won. Sort of. It's complicated. Vegeta walked over and looked him up and down, his expression somewhere between concerned and annoyed. You look like hell. That guy really did a number on you. He was incredible, Goku said, looking up at Vegeta with tired but genuine excitement. Vegeta, he beat Beerus. 300 years ago, he actually beat Beerus in a fight. Vegeta's eyes widened, and he looked over at Beerus, who was examining his claws with studied disinterest. Is that true? Technically, yes, Beerus said without looking up. He landed a blow that would have killed me if Whis hadn't intervened. But that was 300 years ago. I'm much stronger now. If we fought today, I'd crush him like an insect. He's dead, Goku said quietly. He faded away right after our fight. His technique was killing him from the inside. Vegeta was silent for a moment, processing that. Then he sat down next to Goku on the grass. So what was the point? Why did he come all this way just to fight you and then die? He was looking for meaning, Goku said. His whole universe got erased because he fought Beerus. Everyone he knew died. He spent 50 years wandering alone. He just wanted to know if life could still matter after you lose everything. Vegeta stared at the grass, his jaw tight. Goku knew that Vegeta understood that feeling better than most. He'd lost his planet, his people, his pride. He'd spent years trying to find meaning after that. And did he find it? Vegeta asked. Goku nodded. I think so. At the end, he seemed at peace. Bulma came out of the house carrying a tray with glasses of water and a first aid kit. She handed Goku a glass and he drank it in one long gulp. Thanks, Bulma. He looked around at all of them, his friends, his rivals, his mentors. He warned me about something before he died. He said there's something watching this universe. Something even the angels don't know about. Something dangerous. Whis' expression grew thoughtful. I've been scanning the cosmic frequencies since we returned. I detect no unusual presences. However, if this entity exists in the spaces between moments as Zareth described, it may be operating on a level beyond standard detection. He tapped his staff again. I will consult with the Grand Priest. If there is a genuine threat, we must identify it before it acts. Beerus waved a hand dismissively. You're all worrying over nothing. Some dying warrior's final warning. He was probably delirious. Now, about that lunch, Goku. Goku started to stand up, but his legs gave out and he sat back down hard. Vegeta caught his arm. You're in no condition to go anywhere. You need a senzu bean. Don't have any, Goku admitted. Korin's been low on supplies. He said it'll be another week before the next batch grows. Bulma pulled a senzu bean out of her pocket and handed it to him. Good thing I keep emergency supplies. Eat this and then get cleaned up. You're tracking blood all over my lawn. Goku grinned and popped the bean into his mouth. Instantly, his injuries healed. His energy returned. He stood up and stretched, feeling like himself again. Thanks, Bulma. You're a lifesaver. He looked at Beerus. All right, Lord Beerus. How about we hit up that barbecue place in West City? My treat. Beerus's face lit up. Finally, someone who understands priorities. Let's go. As they started to walk toward the city, Vegeta grabbed Goku's arm and pulled him aside. Kakarot, be honest with me. How strong was he, compared to Jiren, Broly, me? Goku thought about it. Stronger than Jiren. Maybe equal to Broly when Broly's fully powered up. His technique, that void collapse thing, it wasn't just strong. It tried to erase you from existence. If I hadn't figured out how to counter it with Ultra Instinct, I'd be dead right now. Vegeta's expression darkened. And he beat Beerus with that technique. Yeah, but he also destroyed himself doing it. Every time he used it, he erased a piece of his own existence. That's why he was dying. Vegeta looked away, his fist clenched. A power that strong, but it kills you to use it. What a waste. I don't think he saw it that way, Goku said. I think he was okay with it at the end. He'd been alone for so long, Vegeta. At least when he faded away, he wasn't alone anymore. We were there. Vegeta was silent for a long moment. Then he nodded once. You're too soft, Kakarot. But I suppose that's why people follow you. He turned and started walking. Come on. If we don't hurry, Beerus will eat everything and stick us with the bill. Goku laughed and followed. But as they walked, he couldn't shake the feeling that Zareth's warning had been real. Something was watching. Something was waiting. And whatever it was, Goku had a feeling they'd be meeting it sooner rather than later. At the barbecue restaurant, Beerus was already on his 5th plate of ribs when Goku and Vegeta arrived. Whis was sitting across from him, delicately eating sushi with chopsticks, looking completely unbothered by the carnage Beerus was creating at the table. Goku slid into the booth next to Whis, and Vegeta sat next to Beerus. A waitress came over, took one look at Beerus's purple cat face covered in barbecue sauce, decided she wasn't going to ask questions, and took their orders. So, Beerus said between bites, Zareth mentioned he fought me 300 years ago. You know what the funniest part of that story is? He pointed a rib bone at Goku. I don't remember most of it. I was half asleep during that entire fight. He challenged me while I was in the middle of a nap. Can you imagine? I was so annoyed. Whis chuckled. Yes, I recall. You were quite grumpy. You destroyed 17 planets in the crossfire just out of spite. He deserved it, Beerus said, waking me up for a stupid duel. The nerve. He paused, his expression growing more serious. But I'll admit, he was strong. That final attack of his, the one that almost killed me, I felt that. It wasn't just power. It was something else, something wrong, like reality itself was rejecting me. That's what void collapse does, Goku said. It doesn't just hurt you, it tries to unmake you. I felt it too. It's the scariest attack I've ever faced, because you can't really defend against it. You just have to be so sure of your existence that it can't erase you. Vegeta leaned forward. And you countered it with Ultra Instinct? Goku nodded. Yeah, Ultra Instinct isn't just about fighting. It's about being, existing in the purest form. When I fully understood that, his erasure technique couldn't touch me anymore. Vegeta's jaw tightened, and Goku could see the wheels turning into his head. Vegeta hated that Goku had mastered Ultra Instinct when he couldn't. It was a sore spot between them, one that had never fully healed. But Vegeta didn't say anything. He just turned his attention to his food, eating in brooding silence. Whis set down his chopsticks and looked at Goku with his usual calm expression. But there was something sharp in his eyes. Goku, I must ask, when Zareth warned you about something watching this universe, did he give you any indication of when or how this threat might manifest? Goku shook his head. No. He just said it was out there, and that it was interested in me specifically. He said it made him uneasy, and considering how strong he was, that's pretty worrying. Whis tapped his fingers on the table, thinking. I have contacted the Grand Priest. He is aware of Zareth's existence and his fate. However, he claims no knowledge of any entity operating outside angelic detection. That is either reassuring or deeply troubling. How can it be both? Vegeta asked. Because either Zareth was mistaken, which means there is no threat, or he was correct, which means something is powerful enough to hide from the Grand Priest himself. Whis smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. I find the second option far more concerning. Beerus waved a hand dismissively. You're all paranoid. If something that dangerous existed, I'd have sensed it by now. I'm a god of destruction. It's literally my job to notice threats. With all due respect, my lord, Whis said. You sleep for decades at a time. A threat could rise and fall multiple times, and you'd never notice. Beerus glared at him. Whose side are you on? The side of truth, Whis said cheerfully, which occasionally means pointing out your flaws. Their food arrived, and the conversation shifted to lighter topics. Beerus demanded to know when Earth's next culinary festival was. Goku talked about Gohan and Piccolo and how they'd been training together. Vegeta mentioned that Trunks was getting stronger and might be ready to attempt Super Saiyan 3 soon. For a little while, it felt normal. Just a group of warriors eating together after a hard fight. But Goku couldn't fully relax. Zareth's words kept echoing in his mind. Something is watching you. Something is coming. He'd faced so many threats over the years. Frieza, Cell, Buu, Beerus, Golden Frieza, Hit, Goku Black, Zamasu, Jiren, Broly, Moro, Granola, Gas, Black Frieza. Every time he thought he'd reached the peak, a new challenge appeared. And every time he got stronger to meet it. But this felt different. This felt like something was deliberately waiting for the right moment. After lunch, they all went their separate ways. Beerus and Whis returned to Beerus's planet. Vegeta went back to the gravity chamber to train, because of course he did. And Goku teleported back home to Mount Paozu, where Chi-Chi was waiting on the porch with her arms crossed, and a look on her face that was somehow more terrifying than anything he'd faced today. Goku, she said in that tone that meant he was in trouble. You said you'd be back in an hour. It's been 4 hours. And you missed dinner. Goku scratched the back of his head sheepishly. Sorry, Chi-Chi. Something came up. There was this really strong guy who wanted to fight me. And then Lord Beerus showed up. And then we went out for barbecue. And I kinda lost track of time. Chi-Chi's eye twitched. You went for barbecue without me. Goku realized his mistake immediately. I can explain. Get inside, now. You're doing dishes for a week. Yes, Mom. Goku trudged into the house, accepting his fate. As punishments went, it was pretty mild. At least she wasn't throwing frying pans at his head. He walked into the kitchen and started filling the sink with water. and Chi-Chi sat at the table watching him with a mixture of annoyance and affection. "So who was this strong guy?" she asked after a minute. Goku told her the whole story as he washed dishes, about Zareth, about Universe Zero, about the fight, about the void collapse technique, about the warning. Chi-Chi listened quietly, and when he finished, she was silent for a long time. "That's sad," she finally said. "He lost everything and spent 50 years alone. I can't imagine that." "Yeah," Goku said softly. "Me neither. Even when I was dead, I had King Kai and the other fighters in Otherworld. I was never really alone, but Zareth didn't have anyone." Chi-Chi stood up and walked over, wrapping her arms around Goku from behind as he washed a plate. "You have a good heart, Goku. Even when you're fighting someone, you see them as a person. That's why people love you. But it also means you carry every loss with you. You don't have to carry this one alone." Goku set down the plate and turned around, pulling Chi-Chi into a proper hug. "Thanks. I needed to hear that." They stood there in the kitchen for a minute, just holding each other, and Goku felt some of the tension leave his body. Whatever was coming, whatever threat Zareth had warned him about, he'd face it the same way he always had, with his friends by his side, with his family behind him, with the determination to protect everything he loved. The next morning, Goku woke up early and went outside to train. He needed to clear his head, and the best way to do that was to move. He ran through his forms, practicing punches and kicks, feeling the familiar burn in his muscles. Then he powered up to Super Saiyan Blue and worked on his Kamehameha technique, firing blasts into the empty sky where they'd dissipate harmlessly. He was so focused on his training that he didn't notice Gohan approaching until his son was standing right next to him. "Hey, Dad," Gohan said, making Goku jump slightly. "Gohan, you scared me. What are you doing here so early?" Gohan was wearing his guy, the one Piccolo had given him, and there was a serious expression on his face. "Piccolo told me what happened yesterday, about the guy who fought you, about the warning he gave you. Goku powered down and wiped sweat from his forehead. "Piccolo's got good ears. Yeah, it happened. Why? You worried?" "A little," Gohan admitted. "You faced a lot of enemies, Dad. But this sounds different. If even the angels don't know about this thing, then it's operating on a level we've never dealt with before." Goku nodded. "I know. That's why I'm training. I need to be ready for whatever comes." Gohan crossed his arms. "I want to help. I know I've been focused on my research and my family, but if there's a real threat coming, I can't just sit on the sidelines. Pan's growing up in this world. I need to make sure it's safe for her." Goku smiled and clapped Gohan onto the shoulder. "I was hoping you'd say that. How about we train together, just like old times?" Gohan grinned. "Just like old times." He powered up, his aura exploding around him as he transformed into Super Saiyan, then pushed further into Super Saiyan 2. His hair lengthened, lightning crackled around his body, and his eyes became sharper. "Come on, Dad. Let's see if you can keep up." They spent the next 2 hours sparring. Goku held back, using only Super Saiyan Blue rather than Ultra Instinct, because he wanted to help Gohan improve, rather than just dominate him. They traded blows, tested each other's defenses, pushed each other to the limit, and Goku was impressed. Gohan had been training with Piccolo regularly, and it showed. His movements were sharper, his energy control was better, and when he tapped into his ultimate form, the power that had once defeated Super Buu, Goku actually had to try. They finished with a beam clash, Kamehameha versus Kamehameha, blue energy against white, the two waves colliding in the middle and creating a sphere of roiling power that grew larger and larger until they both cut off their attacks at the same time. The sphere dissipated harmlessly, and they floated down to the ground, both breathing hard but grinning. "You've gotten way stronger," Goku said. "Piccolo's doing a great job training you." Gohan smiled. "Thanks, Dad. But I still have a long way to go to catch up to you." He paused, his expression growing more serious. "Dad, about this threat. Do you think it's connected to Black Frieza?" Goku frowned. He'd almost forgotten about Black Frieza. The last time they'd seen him, Frieza had achieved a new transformation that put him far beyond Golden Frieza. He'd knocked out both Goku and Vegeta with single punches, then left without finishing them off, claiming he wanted them to get stronger, so their next fight would be more interesting. That had been months ago, and there'd been no sign of him since. "I don't know," Goku admitted. "Zareth said the thing watching me wasn't a person or a god, but Frieza's definitely out there somewhere, getting stronger. We can't rule anything out." "We should tell Vegeta," Gohan said. "And Piccolo. Everyone needs to be ready." Goku nodded. "You're right. Let's gather everyone at Capsule Corp tomorrow. We'll have a meeting, figure out a plan. If something big is coming, we need to be united." They flew back to Mount Baozu together, and Goku felt a warmth in his chest. Having Gohan training seriously again, ready to fight alongside him, reminded him of the old days, when they'd faced Cell together, when they'd trained in the hyperbolic time chamber, father and son, fighting side by side. It felt right. That evening, Goku used his phone to send messages to everyone. Vegeta, Piccolo, Gohan, Goten, Trunks, Krillin, Tien, Yamcha, even Android 17 and 18. He told them to meet at Capsule Corporation the next day at noon. It was time to prepare for whatever was coming. The next day, Capsule Corp's main conference room was packed. Bulma had set up chairs in a circle and provided snacks and drinks, because she knew this group couldn't focus on serious topics without food nearby. Goku stood at the front of the room with Vegeta beside him. Everyone else was seated, waiting. Piccolo stood in the back corner with his arms crossed, his expression unreadable. Gohan sat next to Videl, who had insisted on coming even though she couldn't fight at this level. Goten and Trunks were whispering to each other, probably making plans to fuse if things got serious. Krillin sat with Android 18, looking nervous. Tien and Yamcha sat together, both looking older but still ready. And Android 17 sat near the door, his arms crossed, his expression calm. Goku cleared his throat, and everyone fell silent. "Thanks for coming, everyone. I know this is sudden, but something happened 2 days ago that I think you all need to know about." He proceeded to tell them everything. About Zareth, about the fight, about Void Collapse, about Zareth's warning regarding something watching the universe. When he finished, the room was silent. Krillin raised his hand tentatively. "So let me get this straight. There's something out there that even Whis and the angels don't know about, and is specifically interested in you, Goku." "That's what Zareth said," Goku confirmed. Yamcha leaned back in his chair. "Great. Just when I thought things were getting quiet, the universe decides to throw another nightmare at us." "We don't know if it's a nightmare yet," Piccolo said from the corner. "We don't know what it wants, when it will appear, or even if it's real. Zareth was dying when he gave that warning. He could have been hallucinating. Or he could have been telling the truth," Gohan countered. "Either way, we need to be prepared. If something that dangerous exists, we can't afford to be caught off guard." Vegeta spoke up, his voice sharp. "The question is, how do we prepare for an enemy we know nothing about? We don't know its powers, its weaknesses, or its goals. We're fighting shadows." Goku nodded. "That's why I called this meeting. We need to get stronger, all of us, and we need to work together. If this thing shows up, We can't fight it alone. Trunks raised his hand. Should we try to contact the other universes? Maybe Jiren or Toppo or Hit could help. Vegeta shook his head. This is Universe 7's problem. We handle it ourselves. Asking for help from other universes would be an admission of weakness. Pride isn't going to save us if we're outmatched, Piccolo said bluntly. But I agree that we should handle this ourselves first. If we need help, we can ask for it later. Android 17 spoke up from the back. What about the Dragon Balls? Could we use them to find out more about this threat? Bulma, who was standing near the door, shook her head. Shenron has limits. If this entity is beyond the angels, it's probably beyond Shenron too. We could try asking, but I doubt we'd get useful information. Goku looked around the room at all these faces, these warriors who had fought beside him for so many years. Here's what I think we should do. Everyone trains. Push yourselves. Get stronger. Gohan, keep working with Piccolo. Vegeta, you and I should spar regularly. Goten, Trunks, practice your fusion. Krillin, Tien, Yamcha, don't think you're sitting this out. Every bit of power helps. And 17, 18, keep yourselves in top condition. 18 raised an eyebrow. We're androids. We're always in top condition. Then get in better condition, Vegeta said. There's always room for improvement. Videl raised her hand tentatively. What about those of us who can't fight at God level? Should we just stay out of the way? Goku shook his head. No. You're important too. You can help evacuate people if things go wrong. You can provide support. You can keep us grounded. We're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for everyone. That includes you. Videl smiled slightly and nodded. Gohan squeezed her hand. The meeting continued for another hour as they discussed strategy, training schedules, and emergency protocols. By the time it ended, everyone had assignments and everyone knew the stakes. As people filed out of the conference room, Goku felt a sense of cautious optimism. They were ready, or at least they would be. Piccolo walked up to Goku as the room emptied. You handled that well, but I can tell you're worried. Goku didn't deny it. Yeah, I've fought a lot of strong guys, Piccolo, but this feels different. Zareth was scared of whatever he sensed, and he beat Beerus. If something scared him, what chance do we have? Piccolo's expression was serious, but not hopeless. We have what Zareth didn't. We have each other. He was alone for 50 years. We're not. That's our advantage. Don't forget that. Goku smiled. You're right. Thanks, Piccolo. Piccolo nodded and walked out, leaving Goku alone in the conference room. He stood there for a moment, looking out the window at West City sprawling in the distance. Somewhere out there, beyond the stars, beyond the universes, something was watching, waiting, planning, and Goku knew deep in his bones that when it finally made its move, nothing would ever be the same again. But until that moment came, all he could do was train, fight, protect the people he loved. And when the time came, he'd face whatever came with everything he had, because that's what he did. That's what he'd always done, and he wasn't going to stop now. 3 weeks passed. 3 weeks of intense training. Goku and Vegeta sparred daily, pushing each other to new heights. Gohan trained with Piccolo in the mountains, unlocking deeper reserves of his ultimate power. Goten and Trunks practiced fusion until they could form Gotenks in under 5 seconds. Even Krillin, Tien, and Yamcha found ways to improve, focusing on technique and teamwork rather than raw power. We stopped by occasionally to observe their progress. He seemed pleased, but also concerned. When Goku asked him if he'd learned anything about the mysterious presence Zareth mentioned, Whis simply said, "Not yet, but I'm looking." Life continued. Goku helped Chi-Chi around the house, went fishing with Gohan, had dinner with friends. There were moments when he almost forgot about the looming threat. Almost. But then he'd wake up in the middle of the night with the feeling that someone was watching him, and he'd remember. Something was out there. Something was coming. On the 21st day after Zareth's death, something changed. Goku was in the middle of training when he felt it. A ripple in reality. A distortion in the fabric of space-time that made his skin prickle and his instincts scream. He stopped mid-punch and looked up at the sky. The air above Mount Paozu was shimmering like heat waves on asphalt, but the temperature hadn't changed. Goku's phone rang. It was Vegeta. "Kakarot, are you feeling this?" "Yeah," Goku said, his voice tight. "Something's happening. Get to Capsule Corp, now." Goku hung up and pressed his fingers to his forehead, locking onto Vegeta's energy signature. He vanished via instant transmission and reappeared on Capsule Corp's lawn. Vegeta was already there, staring up at the sky. Gohan and Piccolo materialized moments later, followed by Goten, Trunks, Krillin, and the others. They all looked up, and what they saw made their blood run cold. The sky was tearing open, not like Zareth's entrance, which had been clean and precise. This was violent, chaotic. Massive cracks of black lightning spread across the heavens like fractures in glass. The cracks grew wider, spiderwebbing outward, and through the gaps, they could see something. A void. Not the peaceful emptiness of space, but true nothingness. The absence of everything. And in the center of that void, something was moving. A figure stepped through the largest crack and floated down toward the ground. As it descended, the cracks in the sky sealed themselves, reality repairing itself with visible effort. The figure landed softly on the grass 50 feet away from the gathered warriors. Goku's first thought was that this being looked almost human. Almost. It was humanoid in shape, maybe 6 feet tall, slender, but not frail. It wore simple white robes that seemed to glow with their own internal light. Its skin was pale, nearly translucent, and its hair was long and silver, flowing around its shoulders like liquid. But it was the face that made everyone freeze. The being had no eyes. Where eyes should have been, there were just smooth expanses of pale skin. No nose, just a small, delicate mouth. And yet, despite having no eyes, Goku could feel it looking at him, staring at him with an intensity that made his soul feel exposed. The being tilted its head, and when it spoke, its voice was soft but somehow impossibly loud, like it was speaking directly into their minds. "Son Goku, at last we meet." Goku stepped forward, his fists clenched, every instinct telling him to transform, to fight, to run. But he held his ground. "Who are you? What do you want?" The being's mouth curved into a smile. Not a cruel smile, not a kind one, just a smile. "I am called the Arbiter. I exist to maintain balance across all existence, and I have come to correct an anomaly." "What anomaly?" Vegeta demanded, stepping up beside Goku. The Arbiter's eyeless face turned toward Vegeta, and he visibly flinched. "Not you, Saiyan. You are irrelevant. I speak of Goku. His existence has created a distortion in the natural order. A mortal who has touched the realm of angels. A being who has surpassed gods without ascending to godhood. He is a contradiction, and contradictions must be resolved." Goku felt his heart sink. This was it. This was what Zareth had warned him about. "So you're here to kill me?" The Arbiter's smile widened. "Not kill. Erase. There is a difference. Killing leaves a mark. Erasure leaves nothing. You will simply cease to have ever existed. Your timeline will adjust. Your friends will forget you. Your accomplishments will be attributed to others or will never have happened. It will be as if Son Goku was never born. Gohan stepped forward, his energy exploding around him as he transformed into his ultimate form. "You're not touching my father." The Arbiter didn't even look at him. It raised one hand casually, and Gohan froze in place. Not paralyzed, not held by physical force. He simply couldn't move, like the concept of movement had been removed from his existence. Piccolo tried to rush forward to help, but he froze too. Then Vegeta, then everyone else. One by one, they all became statues, unable to move, unable to speak. Only Goku remained free. He looked around at his frozen friends, panic rising in his chest. "Let them go." "They are unharmed," the Arbiter said calmly. "I have simply removed them from this moment. They cannot interfere. This is between you and me, Son Goku. You have a choice. Come with me peacefully and allow yourself to be erased, or resist and I will erase them as well. Not just freeze them, erase them, completely, starting with your son." Goku's fist shook. His mind raced. He could feel the Arbiter's power. It was enormous, limitless, not the raw, destructive force of someone like Jiren or Broly. This was something else. Authority. The Arbiter didn't fight. It simply decided what would exist and what wouldn't. And Goku had no idea how to fight that. But he knew one thing. He couldn't let his friends and family be erased. He'd sacrifice himself 1,000 times before letting that happen. He powered up to Super Saiyan Blue, his aura roaring to life, and charged at the Arbiter. His fist flew toward the being's featureless face with all the speed and power he could muster. The Arbiter didn't block, didn't dodge. Goku's fist connected with its face, and it was like punching solid reality. The impact sent a shockwave rippling outward, but the Arbiter didn't move, didn't even flinch. Goku pulled back his fist, shocked, and saw that his knuckles were bleeding. The Arbiter's face was completely unmarked. "Physical force cannot harm me," the Arbiter said gently. "I am not a being of matter or energy. I am a concept given form. You might as well try to punch the idea of existence itself." Goku gritted his teeth and powered up further, shifting into Ultra Instinct sign. His silver aura blazed, and he attacked again, this time with a flurry of strikes from every angle, moving faster than thought. Every punch, every kick, connected with perfect precision, and none of them did anything. The Arbiter stood perfectly still, that small smile never leaving its face. Goku backed off, breathing hard, his mind racing. If physical attacks didn't work, maybe energy would. He cupped his hands at his side and began gathering power. "Ka, me. Ha, me." Blue energy swirled between his palms, growing brighter and brighter. "Ha!" He fired the Kamehameha point blank at the Arbiter. The massive beam engulfed the being completely. A torrent of destructive energy that would have vaporized planets. Goku poured everything into it, maintaining the beam for 10 full seconds before finally cutting it off. When the light faded, the Arbiter was still standing there, completely unharmed. Its white robes weren't even singed. "Are you finished?" the Arbiter asked. Goku dropped to one knee, exhausted. He'd used so much energy, and it hadn't mattered at all. He looked up at the Arbiter, at its eyeless face, and felt something he rarely felt. Helplessness. "Why are you doing this?" "I haven't done anything wrong. I just wanted to get stronger. To protect people." "I know," the Arbiter said. And for the first time, there was something like sadness in its voice. "You are not evil, Son Goku. You are simply impossible. The structure of reality cannot sustain beings like you. Mortals who achieve angelic power create instabilities. If left unchecked, those instabilities grow until entire universes collapse. I have witnessed it happen 17 times across different timelines. I'm here to prevent the 18th. Goku struggled to his feet. Then why didn't you stop me before? Why let me get this strong? Because I wanted to see if you would be different. If perhaps, just once, a mortal could touch that power without causing destruction. But Zareth's arrival confirmed my fears. His universe collapsed because he fought a god. Yours will collapse if you continue to exist. I'm sorry, but this is necessary. Goku clenched his fists. His whole body was shaking, not from fear, from rage, from frustration. He'd spent his whole life fighting, getting stronger, protecting his friends and family. And now some cosmic entity was telling him that just by existing, he was going to destroy everything. It wasn't fair. It wasn't right. I don't accept that, Goku said, his voice low but fierce. I don't believe that getting stronger is wrong. I don't believe that trying to protect people causes destruction. And I'm not going to let you erase me without a fight. The Arbiter tilted his head. You cannot fight me, Goku. You do not possess the means. Then I'll find the means. Goku closed his eyes and let go of everything. Fear, anger, doubt, hope, all of it. He sank deeper into Ultra Instinct than he'd ever gone before. Past the physical, past the mental, into the spiritual, into the essence of what made him Goku. And there, in that deepest place, he felt something, a warmth, a connection, not just to his own power, but to everyone around him. His frozen friends, his family, everyone he'd ever fought beside, everyone he'd ever protected. They were all part of him, and he was part of them. His silver aura changed. It became brighter, warmer, tinged with gold. His hair shifted from silver to a brilliant white gold. His eyes opened, and they were glowing with pure white light. This wasn't mastered Ultra Instinct. This was something beyond that. This was Ultra Instinct infused with his own spirit, his own will, his own refusal to give up. This was Ultra Instinct perfected. The Arbiter's smile faded. Interesting. You have transcended even the angels' teachings. You have created something new. But it will not be enough. Goku moved, not with his body, but with his will. He appeared in front of the Arbiter and threw a punch, and this time the Arbiter had to block. The being raised its arm, and Goku's fist connected with it, and the shockwave that resulted shook the entire planet. The Arbiter slid backward 3 inches, the first time it had moved at all. Impossible, the Arbiter whispered. You should not be able to touch me. Goku grinned through the exhaustion and pain. Guess I'm more impossible than you thought. He attacked again, and this time the Arbiter fought back. It moved with inhuman speed, its limbs blurring, striking at Goku from impossible angles. Goku's new form let him keep pace, blocking, countering, pushing forward. They clashed in the air above Capsule Corp, their battle creating shockwaves that rippled across the sky. Goku fired a barrage of ki blasts, and the Arbiter waved its hand, causing the blasts to simply cease existing before they hit. Goku charged through the space where the blasts had been, and landed a kick to the Arbiter's side. The being grunted, actually grunted in pain, and spun away. You are adapting, the Arbiter said, its voice no longer calm. Now it sounded strained. You are learning to fight on my level. How? Because I have to, Goku said simply. Because if I don't, everyone I love dies, and I'm not okay with that. The Arbiter's expression hardened. Then I will end this now. It spread its arms wide and reality around them began to fracture. The sky cracked. The ground split. The very air started to peel away in layers, revealing the void beneath. The Arbiter was trying to unmake the space they were fighting in, to drag them both into nothingness. Goku felt the pull, felt existence trying to let go of him. But he didn't let go. He held on, not with his hands, but with his spirit. He thought of Chi-Chi, of Gohan, of Goten, of all his friends. He thought of every person on Earth who was counting on him, and he refused to disappear. His white gold aura exploded outward, pushing back against the void, forcing reality to hold itself together through sheer willpower. The Arbiter's eyeless face showed shock for the first time. You are denying erasure. You are holding existence together by force of will alone. This should not be possible. I keep hearing that, Goku said, grinning. But I keep doing it anyway. He charged forward one more time, and this time he wasn't aiming to hurt the Arbiter. He was aiming to touch it, to connect with it. His hand reached out and made contact with the Arbiter's chest, right over where a heart would be if it had one. And in that moment of contact, Goku poured everything he had into the Arbiter. Not his power, his emotions, his memories, his experiences, every fight he'd ever had, every friend he'd ever made, every moment of joy, pain, loss, and triumph. The Arbiter gasped, stumbling backward, its hands clutching its chest. What did you do? I showed you who I am, Goku said quietly. Not just my power. Me. All of me. Every reason I fight. Every person I protect. If you're going to erase me, you need to know what you're erasing. The Arbiter stood there, trembling, its featureless face twisted in something that looked like confusion or pain. The cracks in reality began to seal themselves. The void retreated, and slowly the Arbiter lowered its hands. When it spoke again, its voice was different, uncertain. I see. You are not just a contradiction. You are a bridge, a connection between mortal and divine that does not seek to replace either. You fight not to destroy the natural order, but to protect it. The Arbiter looked down at his hands. I was wrong. You are not the cause of instability. You are a new kind of stability, one I did not anticipate. Goku powered down, his white gold aura fading away, leaving him standing in his base form, exhausted but hopeful. Does that mean you're not going to erase me? The Arbiter was silent for a long moment. Then it nodded slowly. I will not erase you, but I cannot simply leave. My purpose is to maintain balance. If I do nothing, other Arbiters will come. Beings like me who will not listen, who will not hesitate. It looked up at Goku. I must return to the higher realms and argue your case. Convince the others that you are not a threat. It may take time, years, perhaps centuries by your perception. Can you do one thing for me first? Goku asked. What? Unfreeze my friends. They've been stuck like that the whole fight. They must be going crazy. The Arbiter nodded and waved its hand. Instantly, everyone unfroze. Gohan stumbled forward. Piccolo caught himself. Vegeta immediately powered up, ready to fight. They all looked around in confusion, saw Goku standing there exhausted, saw the Arbiter floating nearby, and prepared to attack. Wait, Goku shouted, raising his hands. It's okay. We worked it out. Vegeta looked at him like he'd grown a second head. Worked it out? Kakarot, this thing froze all of us and tried to erase you. Yeah, but it's not going to do that anymore, right? Goku looked at the Arbiter. The Arbiter inclined its head. Correct. I have reconsidered my judgment. Son Goku will live, for now. But heed my warning, all of you. The power you wield comes with responsibility. If you abuse it, if you allow it to destabilize reality, I or others like me will return. And next time, there may be no discussion. With that, the Arbiter raised one hand and a rift opened in the air behind it, leading to someplace else, someplace that hurt to look at. The Arbiter stepped toward the rift, then paused and looked back at Goku. You surprised me, Son Goku. That is a rare thing. Perhaps there is hope for your kind after all. Then it stepped through the rift and vanished. The rift sealed itself, and they were alone. For a long moment, nobody spoke. Then Krillin said very quietly, "What the hell just happened?" Goku collapsed onto the grass, completely drained. I think I just saved my own life, and maybe everyone else's." He looked up at the sky, at the normal blue expanse, and felt a profound sense of relief. "It's over, for now." Gohan rushed over and helped Goku sit up. "Dad, are you okay?" "Yeah, just tired. Really, really tired." Goku looked around at everyone. "Sorry for scaring you guys. That thing, the Arbiter, it wanted to erase me because I got too strong. But I showed it that I'm not a threat, that I just want to protect people, and it listened." Vegeta walked over, his arms crossed, his expression unreadable. "You showed it your feelings. That's what saved you." "Yeah, basically." Goku grinned sheepishly. "Turns out cosmic entities respond to emotional honesty. Who knew?" Piccolo shook his head, a slight smile on his face. "Only you, Goku. Only you could talk your way out of being erased from existence." Bulma came running out of the building, having watched the whole thing from inside. "Goku, you idiot! You could have died. You could have been erased. Do you have any idea how terrifying that was to watch?" "Sorry, Bulma," Goku said, still grinning. "But hey, I'm still here. And so is everyone else. I'd call that a win." She glared at him, then sighed and helped him to his feet. "Come on, you need food and rest. And then you're going to explain everything that happened in detail." As they walked back toward Capsule Corp, Goku looked back at the sky one more time. Zareth had been right. Something had been watching, something dangerous. But unlike Zareth, Goku hadn't been alone. He'd had his friends, his family, his unshakable belief in doing the right thing, and that had made all the difference. Deep in space, in a dimension beyond normal perception, the Arbiter appeared before a council of beings like itself. 13 eyeless faces turned to regard it as it approached. "Report," one of them said, its voice echoing across eternity. "Did you erase the anomaly?" The Arbiter hesitated, and that hesitation spoke volumes. "No. I have concluded that Son Goku is not a threat to reality. He is, in fact, a stabilizing influence. I recommend we observe him rather than erase him." Silence. Then another Arbiter spoke. "You allowed a mortal to change your judgment. This is unprecedented. Explain." The Arbiter, who had faced Goku, straightened. "He showed me something I had not seen in all my eons of existence. A mortal who wields God-level power without hubris, who fights to protect rather than conquer, who connects rather than divides. He is not a contradiction. He is an evolution. And if we erase him, we erase the possibility of mortals and gods coexisting peacefully. I cannot allow that." The council deliberated in silence. Finally, the eldest Arbiter, the one at the center of the circle, spoke. "Your argument is noted. We will grant Son Goku a reprieve, but we will watch. And if he falters, if he becomes what we fear, you will be the one to erase him. Do you accept this responsibility?" The Arbiter, who had faced Goku, nodded. "I accept. Then it is decided. Return to your duties, and pray that your faith in this mortal is not misplaced." The council dissolved, each Arbiter vanishing to their own domains. The one who had fought Goku remained, floating alone in the void. It looked down at its hand, the hand that had touched Goku's chest, and felt something it had never felt before. Curiosity, hope, perhaps even friendship. "Do not fail me, Son Goku," it whispered to the empty space. "The multiverse is counting on you." Then it too vanished, leaving only silence behind. 2 months passed since the Arbiter's departure. Life on Earth returned to something resembling normal, but everyone who had witnessed that day carried the weight of it differently. Goku trained harder than ever, not out of fear, but out of responsibility. He understood now that his strength wasn't just about protecting Earth anymore. It was about proving that mortals and gods could coexist, that power didn't have to corrupt, that getting stronger could be about more than just the next fight. Vegeta watched Goku during their sparring sessions with an expression that hovered between frustration and grudging respect. They were in the gravity chamber at Capsule Corp. The machine cranked up to 500 times Earth's gravity, trading blows that would have pulverized mountains. Vegeta caught one of Goku's punches and held it there, his eyes locked on Goku's face. "You're holding back again," Vegeta said, his voice tight. Goku grinned sheepishly. "Sorry. Habit. Don't apologize. Just stop doing it." Vegeta released Goku's fist and stepped back, powering down. His blue aura faded, and he stood there breathing hard, sweat dripping down his face. "That form you used against the Arbiter, that white gold transformation, I felt it from inside that frozen state. It was beyond mastered Ultra Instinct. How did you do it?" Goku scratched the back of his head, thinking. "I don't really know how to explain it. It was like Ultra Instinct, but I added myself to it. My emotions, my connections, everything that makes me who I am. It was always said Ultra Instinct requires you to empty your mind, but that didn't work against the Arbiter. So I did the opposite. I filled my mind with everything that mattered to me." Vegeta's jaw tightened. "So you created a new form by feeling things? That's absurd." "Yeah, kinda," Goku smiled. "But it worked. And I think anyone could do it if they really needed to. You just have to believe in something more than yourself. Spare me the philosophy lecture, Kakarot." Vegeta turned toward the door. "But I'll consider what you said. Maybe there's something to it." He paused at the threshold. "The Arbiter said others like it might come. Are you ready for that?" Goku's smile faded. "I don't know, but I'll face it when it happens. Same as always." Vegeta nodded once and left. Goku stood alone in the gravity chamber, feeling the weight pressing down on him from all directions. He powered up to Super Saiyan Blue, then pushed into Ultra Instinct Sign, practicing the transition. He needed to be able to access that white gold form again if necessary. But every time he tried to recreate it, something was missing. It wasn't just power he needed. It was purpose, context. That form had manifested when everything was on the line. Could he summon it in training? He wasn't sure. He spent another hour pushing himself, then finally gave up and left the chamber. As he walked through Capsule Corp's hallways, he heard voices coming from the kitchen. Bulma, Chi-Chi, and Videl were sitting around the table drinking tea and talking. Goku started to walk past, but Chi-Chi spotted him and waved him over. "Goku, get in here. We need to talk to you." Goku winced internally, but obeyed, sitting down at the table. 3 pairs of eyes fixed on him, with varying degrees of concern and annoyance. He felt more nervous than he had facing the Arbiter. "What's up?" he asked, trying to sound casual. Chi-Chi set down her teacup with a sharp click. "What's up is that you nearly got erased from existence 2 months ago, and you've been training non-stop ever since. Gohan told me you're barely sleeping. You're pushing yourself too hard." "I'm fine," Goku protested. "I just need to be ready in case something else shows up." Videl leaned forward, her expression gentle but firm. "Gohan says the same thing. He's been training with Piccolo until he can barely stand. Pan asks why Daddy comes home so tired all the time. This isn't sustainable, Goku. You're going to burn out." Bulma nodded. "And Vegeta's even worse. He's in that gravity chamber 18 hours a day. I've had to force him to eat and sleep. You two are feeding off each other's paranoia." Goku looked down at his hands. They were scarred and calloused from countless battles, countless hours of training. I know it seems like too much, but that Arbiter said others might come, and if they do, I need to be strong enough to protect everyone, not just by fighting, but by proving that we deserve to exist. That's a lot of pressure. Chi-Chi's expression softened. She reached across the table and took Goku's hand. I know, and I'm proud of you for taking it seriously. But you can't protect anyone if you destroy yourself in the process. You need balance, Goku. Time with your family. Time to just be human instead of being a warrior. I'm Saiyan, Goku said automatically, then caught himself when Chi-Chi's eye twitched. But I get what you mean. I'll try to slow down a little. Maybe take a day off here and there. Not here and there, Chi-Chi said firmly. Regularly, starting today. You're coming home and we're having a family dinner. Gohan, Videl, and Pan are coming too. No training, no fighting, just eating and talking like normal people. Goku wanted to argue, but he saw the determination in Chi-Chi's eyes and knew it was pointless. Besides, the idea of a normal family dinner actually sounded nice. When was the last time he'd done that? Weeks? Months? Okay, yeah, that sounds good. Chi-Chi smiled and released his hand. Good. Now go shower. You smell like a gym. Goku laughed and stood up. As he left the kitchen, he heard Bulma say, Now we just need to get Vegeta to agree to the same thing. Good luck with that, Chi-Chi replied. That man is more stubborn than a mule. That evening, Goku sat at the table in his house on Mount Paozu, surrounded by his family. Gohan and Videl were on one side, with Pan between them. Chi-Chi sat at Goku's right, and Goten had come down from visiting friends to join them. The table was loaded with food, rice and fish and vegetables and dumplings, and for the first time in weeks, Goku actually tasted what he was eating, instead of just shoveling it down for fuel. Pan was telling a story about something that happened at preschool, her little hands waving excitedly as she described how she accidentally broke a swing by pushing too hard. Gohan looked mortified, but Videl was laughing. Chi-Chi was smiling in that way she did when everything felt right in the world. And Goku felt something in his chest loosen, a tension he hadn't realized he'd been carrying. This was what he fought for. Not abstract concepts like justice or balance. These people, these moments. The Arbiter had seen his memories and understood. But Goku had needed this reminder too. He couldn't spend all his time preparing for the next threat. He had to live the life he was protecting. After dinner, Goku and Gohan went outside and sat on the porch, looking up at the stars. Pan had fallen asleep on Videl's lap inside. The night was quiet, except for crickets and the distant sound of a river. Thanks for inviting us over, Gohan said. I needed this. I've been so focused on training that I forgot what I was training for. Me too, Goku admitted. Your mum was right. I was pushing too hard. Gohan was silent for a moment. Dad, are you scared? About the Arbiters coming back? Goku thought about it. A little, but not as much as I thought I'd be. I proved something to that Arbiter. I showed it that mortals with God power aren't automatically dangerous. And I think it believed me. If others come, maybe I can show them the same thing. And if they don't listen, then I'll fight. Goku's voice was calm but certain. But I'll try talking first. Fighting should always be the last option, not the first. Gohan smiled. When did you get so wise? I'm not wise. I just finally learned what Whis and Beerus have been trying to teach me for years. Power is a responsibility, not a toy. Goku looked over at his son. You're getting really strong, Gohan. I felt your energy the other day when you were training with Piccolo. You're almost back to where you were when you fought Buu. Maybe even stronger. Gohan's smile faded slightly. I'm trying, but I'll never catch up to you or Vegeta. You two are on a completely different level now. That doesn't matter. You don't need to catch up to us. You just need to be the best version of yourself. And you are. You're an amazing fighter, an amazing scholar, an amazing father. I'm proud of you, Gohan. Gohan looked away, and Goku saw his eyes were shining with moisture. Thanks, Dad. That means a lot. They sat there for a while longer, father and son, sharing a comfortable silence. Inside the house, Goku could hear Chi-Chi cleaning up the kitchen and humming to herself. Videl was reading a story to Pan in a soft voice. Goten was laughing at something on his phone. It was peaceful. Perfect. And then the sky exploded. Not literally, but that's what it felt like. A massive surge of energy erupted from somewhere far away, so powerful that Goku felt it like a physical blow to his chest. He jumped to his feet, his hand instinctively going to his forehead, trying to sense the source. Gohan stood up next to him, his face pale. "What is that?" Gohan whispered. The energy felt familiar but wrong. It was God energy, destruction energy, but twisted somehow. Darker, angrier, and it was coming from West City. From the direction of Capsule Corp, Goku's blood ran cold. "Vegeta," he said. Then he vanished via instant transmission. He reappeared in Capsule Corp's courtyard and immediately understood what was happening. Vegeta was standing in the center of the lawn, his body surrounded by an aura of deep purple energy that crackled with black lightning. His eyes were pure white, glowing with power, and his hair had shifted from blue to a dark violet color that looked almost black in the shadows. He was screaming, his voice raw and primal, and the ground around him was cracking and splitting apart from the pressure of his energy. Bulma was standing at a safe distance, her face terrified. When she saw Goku appear, she ran toward him. "Goku, something's wrong with Vegeta. He was training in the gravity chamber, and then this started happening. He won't respond to me." Goku looked at Vegeta, and his instincts screamed warnings. This wasn't just a new transformation. This was something unstable, dangerous. Vegeta's energy was spiking erratically, surging and falling in waves. It reminded Goku of when Vegeta had let Babidi control him, that same wild, destructive aura. But this was worse. This was Vegeta fighting himself. Goku stepped forward slowly, his hands raised. "Vegeta, can you hear me?" Vegeta's head snapped toward Goku, and for a moment Goku saw recognition in those glowing eyes. Then Vegeta moved. He appeared in front of Goku faster than thought and threw a punch that Goku barely blocked. The impact sent a shockwave rippling outward that shattered every window in Capsule Corp. Goku slid backward, his arm stinging from the force of the blow. "Vegeta, stop. It's me. I know who you are, Kakarot." Vegeta's voice was distorted, layered with strange harmonics. "I've finally done it. I've surpassed you. This is my God of Destruction form. True power." He attacked again, a flurry of punches and kicks that Goku had to transform into Super Saiyan Blue just to keep up with. They clashed in the air above Capsule Corp, their energies colliding violently. Goku could feel that Vegeta's power was immense, possibly equal to his own mastered Ultra Instinct, but it was also consuming him. The purple and black energy was eating away at Vegeta's body, creating cracks in his skin that leaked dark light. "Vegeta, your body can't handle this. You need to power down." "Never," Vegeta roared. He gathered energy in both hands and fired a massive blast at Goku. Goku dodged, and the blast shot past him, heading straight for West City. Goku's heart jumped. If that hit the city, thousands of people would die. He used instant transmission to appear in the path of the blast and caught it with his hands, grunting as he struggled to contain the destructive energy. It took everything he had to compress the blast down to nothing, and by the time he succeeded, Vegeta was right behind him. Vegeta grabbed Goku by the throat and slammed him into the ground hard enough to create a crater. Goku gasped, the wind driven from his lungs, and looked up at Vegeta's twisted face. "Vegeta, please, you're losing yourself. I'm finding myself." Vegeta's grip tightened. "For years I've watched you surpass me again and again. Ultra Instinct, forms I can't achieve. Praise from the angels. Well, not anymore. I found my own path. Beerus taught me destruction, and I've taken it further than he ever could. This is my power." Goku's vision was starting to blur from lack of oxygen. He didn't want to hurt Vegeta, but if he didn't do something, Vegeta was going to kill him, and then he'd lose control completely and destroy everything. Goku made a decision. He shifted into Ultra Instinct sign, his silver aura exploding outward and breaking Vegeta's grip. He flipped away and put distance between them. "If you won't listen, then I'll make you listen." Goku's voice was calm but firm. He powered up further, pushing into mastered Ultra Instinct. His hair turned completely silver white and his eyes became mercury pools. "Come on, Vegeta. Show me this power of yours." Vegeta grinned, a wild, feral expression that didn't look like him at all. Finally, a real fight. He charged, and they clashed again. This time Goku didn't hold back. He met Vegeta blow for blow, his Ultra Instinct allowing him to dodge the worst attacks while landing counters. They moved so fast they were invisible, just two trails of silver and purple light streaking across the sky. Each impact created thunderous booms that echoed across the city. Gohan appeared below, having followed Goku's energy signature. Piccolo was with him, and behind them were Krillin, Tien, and Android 17. They all looked up at the battle with horror. "We have to stop them," Gohan shouted. Piccolo grabbed his shoulder. "We can't. They're fighting at a level we can't reach. If we interfere, we'll just get killed." "Then what do? We evacuate the city, get everyone as far away as possible, and we hope Goku can bring Vegeta back to his senses." Above them, Goku and Vegeta continued their devastating battle. Goku could see that Vegeta was getting slower, his movements becoming more erratic. The purple and black energy around him was flickering, unstable. The cracks in his skin were spreading. This form was killing him, and Vegeta either didn't notice or didn't care. Goku needed to end this quickly. He gathered energy in both hands and formed a Kamehameha, but he pulled it back, not firing yet. "Vegeta, look at yourself. You're falling apart. This power is destroying you." Vegeta looked down at his hands and saw the cracks, the dark light leaking out. For a moment, his expression flickered. Confusion, fear. Then the wild grin returned. "So what? If I die achieving true power, that's a warrior's death. Better than living in your shadow." "You idiot!" Goku's voice carried genuine anger now, something rare from him. "You're not in my shadow. You never were. We're rivals, equals. I push you and you push me. That's how we both get stronger. But if you die here, that's over. I lose the person who makes me better. Is your pride really worth that?" Vegeta stopped moving. He floated there in the air, the purple energy around him pulsing weakly. His glowing white eyes locked onto Goku's face. "Equals? You really believe that?" "Of course I do. You think I'd spend all this time training with someone I didn't respect? You think I'd trust anyone else to have my back in a real fight?" Goku lowered his hands, letting the Kamehameha dissipate. "Vegeta, you're my best friend, my brother, and I'm not going to let you destroy yourself just to prove something you've already proven 1,000 times." Vegeta's aura flickered. The purple began to fade, replaced by the more stable blue of Super Saiyan Blue. His hair shifted back to azure. The cracks in his skin began to close. He dropped out of the sky and Goku caught him before he hit the ground, lowering him gently onto the grass. Vegeta's breathing was ragged, his body trembling from exhaustion. "Kakarot," Vegeta said hoarsely. "I almost killed you." "Yeah, but you didn't." Goku smiled. "You came back. You always do." Vegeta closed his eyes, and when he spoke again, his voice was barely a whisper. "I was so angry. I felt that Arbiter's power, felt how easily it could have erased all of us, and I realized I was still weak, still helpless. I couldn't protect anything. So I pushed myself. I tried to force my way into a God of Destruction form without proper training, and I lost control. I know. I felt it." Goku sat down next to Vegeta on the grass. "But you can't rush power like that. Beerus spent millions of years learning to control destruction energy. You can't do it in a few months. You'll just destroy yourself." Vegeta opened his eyes and looked at the sky. "So what do I do? How do I catch up to you when you can access forms I can't?" "You don't catch up. You find your own path." Goku looked at him seriously. "I have Ultra Instinct. You have Destruction. Those are different things, but they're both valuable. We don't need to be the same, Vegeta. We just need to be ourselves." Vegeta was silent for a long time. Then he sat up slowly, wincing. "Damn it, Kakarot. When did you become so philosophical?" Goku laughed. "I don't know. Maybe almost getting erased from existence made me think about things differently." Bulma came running over, followed by Gohan and the others. She dropped to her knees next to Vegeta and punched him in the shoulder. "You idiot! You scared me half to death." "Ow! Woman, I just almost died. Show some sympathy." "I'll show you sympathy when you stop being reckless." But she was crying, and she pulled him into a hug despite his protests. Vegeta's expression softened, and he awkwardly patted her back. Gohan knelt next to Goku. "Is he okay?" "He will be. He just needs rest and probably a senzu bean." Goku stood up and looked around at the damage. The courtyard was destroyed, buildings were cracked, and West City in the distance showed signs of panic. "We should probably fix this before Chi-Chi hears about it." Piccolo crossed his arms, his expression serious. "What happened to Vegeta could happen to any of us. We're all pushing ourselves to extremes trying to prepare for threats we don't understand. But if we're not careful, we'll become threats ourselves." Goku nodded slowly. "You're right. We need to be smarter about this. Train hard, but train safe. Push our limits, but don't break ourselves." He looked at Vegeta, who was still being fussed over by Bulma. "We're all in this together, and that means looking out for each other." Android 17 spoke up from the back of the group. "So what's the plan? Just wait for the next threat and hope we're ready?" "No," Goku said. "We train, we live our lives, and we trust that when something comes, we'll face it together. That's all we can do. And honestly, I think that's enough." They spent the next hour cleaning up the damage and calming down the city. Gohan helped evacuate the people who had been near the battle. Piccolo used his abilities to repair some of the structural damage to Capsule Corp. Krillin and 17 coordinated with local authorities to explain the situation as a training accident, which wasn't entirely a lie. And Goku sat with Vegeta, making sure his rival didn't do anything stupid, like try to train immediately after nearly killing himself. As the sun set and things finally calmed down, Goku looked out at the horizon and felt a strange sense of peace. Yes, there were threats out there. Yes, the Arbiter might return, or something worse might appear. But right now, in this moment, everyone was safe. Everyone was alive, and that was worth fighting for. Whis appeared without warning, materializing in the courtyard with his staff in hand. He looked around at the damage with raised eyebrows. My, what happened here? Goku stood up and walked over to him. Vegeta had a little accident. He tried to force a God of Destruction transformation and lost control. Whis' expression became serious. I see. That is precisely what Lord Beerus warned him against. Destruction energy is not something that can be rushed. It requires complete mental and emotional control. He looked over at Vegeta, who was leaning against a wall with his eyes closed. He is fortunate to be alive. Yeah, Goku's voice was quiet. He could have died, and it would have been because he felt like he wasn't strong enough, like he was falling behind. He looked at Whis. Is it always going to be like this? Training and fighting and pushing ourselves until we break? Whis smiled gently. That is the path of the warrior, Goku. But it does not have to be a lonely path. You have each other, you have support, and you have the wisdom to know when to push and when to rest. That is more valuable than any transformation. The Arbiter said others might come. Are they going to show up soon? I do not know, Whis admitted. The Arbiters operate on timescales that even I find difficult to comprehend. It could be tomorrow. It could be 1,000 years. But I have been monitoring the dimensional frequencies, and I have not detected any immediate threats. For now, you can rest easy. Goku nodded, feeling some of the tension leave his shoulders. Thanks, Whis, for everything, for training me, for helping me understand what it means to have this power. I don't think I could have convinced the Arbiter without your teachings. Whis' smile widened. You are welcome, Goku. Though I must say, you exceeded my expectations, creating a form beyond mastered Ultra Instinct by incorporating your emotions rather than suppressing them. That is not something I taught you. That was purely your innovation. Can I do it again? That white gold form? Perhaps, but I would not recommend trying unless absolutely necessary. That form appears to require a specific emotional context, a perfect balance of power and purpose. Attempting to force it could be as dangerous as what Vegeta just experienced. Goku thought about that. So it's an emergency form only. Got it. Whis tapped his staff, and a soft glow emanated from the crystal at the top. I'm going to return to Lord Beerus's planet and report on this incident. But before I go, I have a message for all of you. His voice carried, reaching everyone in the courtyard. They all turned to look at him. You are growing stronger at a rate that concerns the higher powers. But you are also growing wiser. You understand the responsibility that comes with your strength. Continue on this path. Protect each other. Protect your universe. And remember that power without purpose is just destruction. Then he was gone, vanishing in a shimmer of light. The courtyard fell silent. Goku looked around at his friends, his family, his rivals. They had all been through so much together, and they would go through so much more. But as long as they stood together, he believed they could face anything. Vegeta pushed himself off the wall and walked over to Goku. His face was still pale, his body still trembling slightly from the strain, but his eyes were clear and focused. Kakarot, next time we fight, I want you to use that white gold form, the one you used against the Arbiter. Goku raised his eyebrows. Are you sure? That's really dangerous, and I might not even be able to access it. I don't care. I need to see it. I need to understand it. Because if you can create new forms by incorporating emotion, then maybe I can too. Maybe there's a way to safely use destruction energy by combining it with something else. My pride, my determination, my connections. Vegeta's expression was intense but not desperate anymore. It was focused, controlled. I'm not going to give up on getting stronger, but I'm going to do it the right way this time. Goku grinned and extended his hand. Deal. When you're fully recovered, we'll have a real match. No holding back. Vegeta gripped Goku's hand and shook it firmly. No holding back. They stood there in the ruined courtyard, two Saiyan warriors who had fought each other, fought beside each other, and pushed each other to heights neither could have reached alone. And despite everything that had happened, despite the threats looming in the shadows, they both smiled. Because this was what they lived for, the challenge, the growth, the endless pursuit of strength, not for its own sake, but for the people and universe they protected. And as long as they had that purpose, nothing could truly defeat them. Not gods, not demons, not cosmic entities that judged existence itself. They were Saiyans, and Saiyans never gave up. 6 months later, Goku stood in an open field far from any city, his hands in his pockets, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and purple. The air was warm, carrying the scent of grass and wildflowers. In the distance, he could hear birds singing their evening songs. It was peaceful in a way that made his chest feel light. Chi-Chi had stopped nagging him about training as much once he started coming home for dinner every night. Gohan had found a better balance between his scholarly work and his fighting training, and little Pan was starting to show signs of her own incredible potential. Goten and Trunks were getting stronger through friendly rivalry rather than desperation. Even Vegeta had mellowed slightly, though he'd deny it if anyone said it out loud. The past 6 months had been quiet, no new threats, no cosmic entities showing up to judge them. Just normal life punctuated by training, sparring, and the occasional tournament for fun. It was the longest stretch of peace Goku could remember in years, and he was learning to appreciate it rather than grow restless. Behind him, he heard footsteps approaching through the grass. He didn't need to turn around to know who it was. The energy signature was as familiar to him as his own. Kakarot, Vegeta said, coming to stand beside him. Still staring at the sky like an idiot. Just enjoying the sunset, Goku replied, smiling. When's the last time you actually looked at one? Vegeta grunted, but didn't walk away. They stood there together in silence, watching the sun sink lower toward the horizon. After a moment, Vegeta spoke again, his voice quieter. I've been thinking about what that Arbiter said, about mortals and gods coexisting, about responsibility. Yeah, what about it? It was right. We're not just fighters anymore. We're symbols, representations of what mortals can achieve. If we fail, if we fall to corruption or recklessness, it proves the Arbiter's right. But if we succeed, if we can wield this power responsibly, we prove that evolution is possible. Vegeta's fists clenched at his sides. I hate that kind of pressure, but I understand it now. Goku nodded. Me too. It used to be just about getting stronger and protecting Earth. Now it's about protecting the right for mortals to grow strong. That's a lot bigger. Can we handle it? Vegeta asked, and there was genuine uncertainty in his voice. Goku thought about it for a long moment, watching the sun touch the horizon. Then he smiled. Yeah, I think we can, because we're not alone. We've got each other, we've got our families, we've got friends across multiple universes, and as long as we remember why we fight, we'll be okay. Vegeta was silent for a beat. Then he said, very quietly, You know, Kakarot, you're less of an idiot than you used to be. Goku laughed. Thanks, Vegeta. That might be the nicest thing you've ever said to me. Don't let it go to your head. You're still an idiot, just a slightly more tolerable one. They stood there until the sun disappeared completely, and the first stars began appearing in the darkening sky. Then Vegeta turned and started walking back toward where he'd parked his capsule corp vehicle. Before he got too far, he called back over his shoulder. Next week, same training schedule, and I want you to show me that white gold form, even if it's just for a second. We'll see, Goku called back. I'm still not sure I can access it outside of an emergency. Try anyway. I need to see it." Vegeta disappeared into the twilight, leaving Goku alone in the field. Goku looked up at the emerging stars and thought about everything that had happened. Zareth, who had lost everything but found peace at the end. The Arbiter, who had judged him and found him worthy. Vegeta, who had nearly destroyed himself but pulled back from the edge. All the battles, all the growth, all the moments of fear and triumph. And he realized something. He was happy, genuinely, deeply happy. Not because life was easy or because there were no more threats, but because he had found meaning in his strength, purpose in his power. He wasn't just a fighter anymore. He was a protector, a teacher, a friend, a father, a symbol of what mortals could achieve without losing their humanity. Or in his case, their Saiyan nature. Same difference. He pressed 2 fingers to his forehead and locked onto Chi-Chi's energy signature back home on Mount Paozu. Before he teleported, he took one last look at the stars. Somewhere out there, in the vast multiverse, other beings were watching, judging, waiting, and when they came, if they came, he would face them the same way he'd faced everything else, with courage, with determination, with the support of everyone who believed in him, and with a smile on his face, because at the end of the day, he loved this life, the challenges, the growth, the connections, all of it. He vanished in a flicker of light, reappearing in his living room, where Chi-Chi was setting the table for dinner. She looked up when he appeared and smiled. "Good timing. Food's almost ready." "Great. I'm starving." Goku walked over and kissed her on the cheek, earning a surprised but pleased expression. "Thanks for putting up with me, Chi-Chi. I know I'm not the easiest husband." She blinked in surprise. "What brought this on?" "Just thinking about how lucky I am. That's all." Chi-Chi's expression softened and she pulled him into a brief hug. "You're welcome, you big lug. Now wash your hands and help me carry these dishes." Goku obeyed, and as he helped set the table, he felt that warmth in his chest again. This was home. This was what mattered. And no matter what challenges the universe threw at him, as long as he had this to come back to, he would never lose his way. Outside, the stars continued their eternal dance across the night sky. In the spaces between moments, in dimensions beyond mortal perception, entities observed and deliberated. The Arbiter, who had faced Goku, watched from his realm, a faint smile on his featureless face. "You were right about him," another Arbiter said, materializing beside it. "He has not faltered. His power remains stable. His purpose remains pure." "I told you," the first Arbiter replied. "He is different. They are all different. This universe's mortals have learned to grow alongside their gods rather than in opposition to them. It is unprecedented. Will you continue to observe him?" "Yes, but not as a judge anymore. As a guardian. If other threats arise that target him specifically, I will intervene. He has earned that much. The Council will not approve. The Council does not need to know." The 2 Arbiters stood together in the void, watching the distant shimmer of Universe 7. And for the first time in eons they felt something like hope. Perhaps the mortals were not as limited as they had always believed. Perhaps evolution was not just possible, but inevitable. Only time would tell. But for now, the universe was at peace. The warriors were strong, but wise. The gods were vigilant, but not tyrannical. And somewhere on a small blue planet, a Saiyan warrior sat down to dinner with his family, grateful for another day of life, ready for whatever tomorrow might bring. The story of Son Goku was far from over, but for this moment, in this small pocket of time, everything was exactly as it should be, and that was enough.